travelers are on a unique expedition into one of the most remote rainforests on Earth. Their goal? To live exactly like the remarkable Kombai tribe, a people whose way of life has barely changed since the Stone Age. Only about 4,000 Kombai are left, isolated from the rest of the world in the dense tropical jungle of West Papua. They live in precarious tree houses and use no modern tools or even clothing. Mark Anstis and Ollie Steed said goodbye to their Western lives months ago. Since then, it's been total immersion in a totally different world. Mark is a seasoned traveler and author.
I'll have chapter 4 for you before I leave.
He has numerous expeditions under his belt, several of which were in West Papua. Ollie has already made his name as a TV news journalist.
Yes, I think what's his story?
He's interviewed people all over the world and crossed numerous cultural barriers. But this trip is his first to West Papua. Mark and Ollie are now reaching the climax of this epic experiment.
They're the masters. This is when our last come together of tribes on the planet. Radical change from the sedentary westernized view.
It began 3 months ago when they befriended this Kombai family who went on to actually adopt them. The guys have tried hard to learn the Kombai's hunter-gatherer skills.
Aim of living off this land is just further away than ever.
They've also delved into Kombai culture.
I'm really here to learn from the master craftsmen at work.
Now it's time for them to put everything they've been taught into practice. In this episode, Mark and Ollie helped stage one of the largest Kombai festivals ever thrown, only to discover that it's threatened by accusations of witchcraft. This is an unusual morning. From their treehouse, Ollie and Mark discover that a new building project is underway.
Look at that!
Their Kombai family are starting work on a purpose-built longhouse, which will be the venue for a Sago Grub festival. The family's elder, Ganare, wants this one to be especially big. At over 100 feet long, this will probably be the largest construction this family has ever built, and everyone is obliged to help out. The first task is to clear the ground.
It's pretty pressing to get this done, and quickly, so working rain or shine at the minute.
The festival is only a month away, but that's not the family's biggest concern. They're more worried that it could be sabotaged by witchcraft. The Kombai believe that Swangis have special powers and make their victims sick by eating their insides. Waflo, Leonore, and Chloa are convinced that the results can be fatal.
With limited medical knowledge, the spirit world is relied upon to explain the inexplicable. So So to the Kombai, anyone could be a swangy, especially if they're strangers. A lot of this black magic sort of suspicion must have come about just really through a desire to find something to blame, and in the absence of something, someone. The fear of swangies is so great that anybody suspected of being one can be killed. It is obviously an important and very sort of weighty aspect of their lives, of their spiritual existence here.
Worries aside, the building continues, and thoughts move on to the serious business. Sago Grub festivals are also about finding partners. Chloa, the family's cheekiest man, is already married, but reckons he can do better.
What are you looking for in your next wife? What kind of thing are you looking for in her? They don't meet strangers very often. I want to find out how they choose who marries who, how intimacy works when different families all live under one roof. I'm hoping the festival will provide the answers.
As with grand celebrations in the West, a great venue is not enough. Great food is also required. Here that means providing sago grubs, the giant maggots that are the Kombai's favorite delicacy. Work on the catering actually began 3 months ago, because that's how long it takes for the grubs to mature. What happens is that Capricorn beetles lay their eggs in rotting sago palms, and eventually the eggs develop into grubs. Felling sago palms and deliberately letting them get infested is the closest the Kombai get to farming.
What are you going on over there? Trees are coming down all over the shop.
It's backbreaking work, and though it looks like they're flattening a lot of their sago supply, Bayo, the head of the family, knows it'll all grow back in about 5 years. He's more concerned about fulfilling his duty.
Our family are getting so excited. I've got a feeling this festival is even more important to them than I'd thought it was.
I'm sort of piecing together a picture here that this particular sago grub feast is going to be huge. They're cutting down over 100 trees for this one, and this is going to be a real treat. Not many people get to see this. This whole thing is turning into just something I hadn't really dreamed of, really. It's going to be fantastic.
4 days later, and to everyone's relief, the last sago palms crash down where they'll be left to rot.
Oh, we nearly took down too. The result.
Coming up, as the festival approaches, Ali asks about sex.
Where do you go if you want to make babies?
And finds out more than he bargained for. Ali and Mark are helping their Kombai family prepare for a lavish Sago Grub festival. It's 3 months since these palms were felled, and the longhouse is nearly finished. The ladies have been making their party outfits, and Berner, the family head's wife, is clearly having quite an effect on Mark, who hasn't had the chance to chase any skirt for ages.
You have to wear them as well. Yeah. You do some hula together. Fantastic. And then your husband can kill me.
Chloe is preparing something else for Mark and Ollie to wear. It's not a skirt or even a pair of trousers. It's a vegetable.
With all the effort that's clearly going into bodily adornment, I imagine there'll be a fair amount of matchmaking going on at the festival. I'm going to talk to Waflo and Mappy, the settlement's youngest couple, to find out how they got together. And now, do you love each other? Is there a love that's just grown between you? Oh, Mappy. Where do you go if you want to make babies? Because if you're in here, your mother's around. Well, luckily, we have privacy at home. We don't have to go out to the woods, because in the woods, it's very public. And you get arrested if you go into the woods and have sex in the woods, my country. Do you two want to have children? Well, that took me by surprise. Unlike the Western ideal of romantic love, couples here seem more interested in commitment to hard work and child rearing. The harsh reality is that it's largely about survival. I'm not sure whether Matthew has lost children in the past or whether they're just not having any luck. But I felt they were both a little sad about that.
The longhouse is now finished, and the celebrations are just 2 weeks away. a very important time for Bayo. As head of the family, it's now his responsibility to begin a series of rituals. First, he must hang up a special rattan bundle which guests will burn if the festival is a success. But more importantly, he must light a sacred fire, which is a lot harder than it sounds. Conjuring flames is just the start of this ritual. Once the fires alight, Bayo mustn't let it go out. That would be an insult to the god Rafafu, and the festival would be cursed.
The lighting of the fire marks the beginning of the food gathering stage of the party preparation. It's going to take a long time. You can't just nip off down to the supermarket and load your car up with all the goodies required. It's full on work now.
Gunari's been given the great honour of opening up the first tree and seeing if there are any grubs in there. When we arrived about 3 months ago, I remember eating my first grub and the horror of that going down. It was something I will never forget. No way around it. A lot of it was to do with the squeamishness, but also the taste. I'd never tasted anything like it. But this time round, it's a whole nother ballgame. I mean, having eaten rat rectum and all sorts of other horrendous things, what's a little grub? It's nothing anymore. Just juicy and delicious.
Still to come, with just days to go, a sinister family secret threatens to wreck the festival. Mark and Ollie's Kombai family are all gathering Sago grubs for their festival, which is now imminent. Word has spread so far that other relatives are turning up to help out, like Headman Bayo's second cousin, Reuben. Knowing that the festival needs to be as large as possible, Reuben has taken it upon himself to invite some of his own guests. Some of the Korowai tribe were welcomed months ago at Mark and Ollie's adoption ceremony. But since then, a Korowai man murdered one of the Kombai, and relations have soured. Unfortunately, not everyone agrees with him, and the thought that anyone from the Korowai tribe might show up is causing a lot of tension.
It seems like Reuben has upset the family. And now something awful has happened. The sacred fire has gone out. I need to find out why, but Bayo has disappeared. Reuben's brother, Nico, thinks he has the answer. And what happened next?
Maramabe, Mea, Sayondo Hari, Yadu Wari, Mea, one around the Rangi Nakimana in Anava, Iri Mora and the Nari, Ogundo Ninja in the Alwin Mana.
Does he still have problems because of this? Having a suspected Swangy in their midst has clearly blighted the family's reputation. And I'm beginning to wonder if the festival is really an attempt to clear their name. But it seems to me actually that the fear is more of being accused of being a Swangy, and that's of course more likely to happen in a place where lots of people come together and there might be a problem or there might be bad blood created over jealousy or something like that, which might later turn into an accusation. And whether or not, the man might be guilty or innocent, whatever charge is laid against him sticks to him for the rest of his life. And that's rather like back in the West. Having to declare a prison sentence if you're going for a job or something like that. Reuben was driven out of his settlement, but he's always protested his innocence. Their belief in this is absolutely rock solid. It's utter belief. There seems to be a suspicion that the fire going out and Reuben's arrival are connected. There's now a family crisis meeting taking place at a sacred bend in the river. I'm worried about what they're going to do next. Could the festival even be cancelled?
In just a moment, find out what the family decide to do about the mystery of Reuben and the failure of the sacred fire. It's the day before the festival, but there's been a disaster. The sacred fire that should never go out has done just that. And now a crisis meeting is taking place in secret. After hours of religious soul-searching, the problem is apparently solved by a spark of divine, if somewhat obvious, inspiration. For added security, Bayo's now drafted in his half-brother Miraje, who lives close by, to make sure Reuben's presence doesn't cause any more damage.
When I first arrived here, the talk of witchcraft and sorcery and these things, Swangies and these bad spirits that infuse everything here, it kind of filled my mind with kind of these romantic, exotic ideas, which, were pretty out of place, really. But in our world, we have notions of good and evil. They do here. They just look at it in a slightly different way, through a slightly different looking glass, and have slightly different ways of dealing with that.
Most people in the world believe something that to other people in the world makes no sense at all either. the different religions around the world. They have their supporters and those who think that it's a load of old rubbish.
The day of the festival has arrived at last, and it's time for Ollie and Mark to take on their final challenge, to dress like the Kombai.
This is the spot. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. I think it's sort of taking away the last barrier between us and them. Really, that's what it feels like to me. So.
No, I'm not worried about getting naked in front of our Kombai family. It's their traditional dress. Having a few problems when I get to bed.
Okay.
Vale. Vale, vale. Nani baat कर रहे हैं बिना क्या करें वो राती भी
What do you think, Joe? Do you think they go well with trousers?
Vale. Tantara gimana? Nani mana window. Mana sare ni mana? Nani orang kami agar apa di? Pare yang mudi mana kurang tu. Pare ni bumper kini ni. Aku ni bumper orang kau baru bumper.
Right, come on then. Let's get to the party. The moment has arrived where Kateka's on, penis schools are now on, and we've now got to hit the party. I haven't been dreading this moment, but it has always been in the back of my mind. If I could get over the slight trepidation in being seen naked by lots of people, then I could absolutely see why being naked in this place just makes sense. Clothes are a nightmare here. They're just constantly wet. They're constantly filthy. If I was going to live here for a year or so, I would go naked, I think.
Rambo! It's all about to kick off. The fires are going on. Everyone's dressed up. Everyone is just so jovial, and it's Christmas.
It's delicious.
Mid-afternoon, and the first party arrive from a neighboring Kombai settlement.
Amazing! Brilliant stand-up and coming in. I think they're going to go round about a few times now.
This place is mad, really. All these guests arriving in this way that they must have arrived at parties for centuries. Shaking the bushes, lots of whooping, yelling. No one could fail to be impressed by this.
As each group arrives, they show off their prowess by dancing a circuit around the longhouse. The host family, including Mark and Ollie, then respond with a parade of honor through the middle of the crowd.
Everyone at the party's dressed up to the nines. Ladies have got stuff in their hair, brand new skirts, all the beads and shells and teeth on. And the guys have got feathers and some have got headdresses, fresh new katekas.
Mark and Ollie have been given the vital role of making sure that every single guest gets their fill of Sago grubs.
I'm starving. I haven't been fed yet. But I'm one of the hosts, so we don't get to eat yet.
The role of a good host is to be active and constantly working and looking after your guests properly. None of the hosts have eaten yet. They're all holding back, making sure all the guests are fed. And if there's any left over, I guess we'll be the lucky ones to eat them. Another party about to arrive. In festive mood.
The last group are from the nearby Korowai tribe. There have been problems with them in the past. They're Ruben's guests, and it's his job to lead them in. What will happen now?
They've all arrived, all armed to the teeth. I'd hoped that they might have left their bows and arrows at the door, but there was a kind of look of fear, and now there's this sort of tense standoff where they're just standing around wondering what to do, I think, or maybe there's some protocols like that.
Gunare's anxious. Not only are these Korowai people, some of them are from the very family who killed his nephew. The family who Ruben promised he wouldn't invite. Coming up, Kombai elder Gunare confronts the unwanted visitors. The question is, what will he do to them? The festival that Mark and Ali's Kombai family are throwing is in full swing, but an unwanted family from the Korowai tribe has just shown up.
The whole atmosphere has changed a little bit, really. It was noisy before, lots of chit-chat going on, but there's much more crisscrossing between groups now.
Gunare's unexpected diplomacy has delicately removed all worries that a fight would break out. Quite a relief. What's more surprising is that I was expecting young men and women to be sweet-talking each other, and they're not. The men and the women have been split up. The men are all on this side, the women are all on that side. And I haven't seen anyone actually cross the Great Divide. In fact, there's very little of the sexual display that draws couples together elsewhere. Here it's more about striking a deal that can benefit an entire family. The two guys here are father and son. The father's taking the son around and introducing him to lots of different people. And I'm sure the sons are being introduced to prospective fathers-in-law as well. I think that may well be part of it.
Very friendly. I think it's just going to keep getting better and better all through the evening and really start warming up.
The only cloud hanging over the festival now is the idea that someone could still be accused of being a swangy, and all hell could break loose. Ruben has been kept out of the way and looks upset, actually. I hope no one has a go at him.
Unexpectedly, Bayo's half-brother Miraje takes on the role of after-dinner speaker to make a special appeal.
It's great to know that our presence here has been appreciated, if you like, and I think they've enjoyed having us. I think also they're quite proud to have had us, and proud to have shown us their way of life, and I certainly hope that.
The final judgment on the festival is up to the visiting parties. Only if they burn Bayo's special rattan bundle is all the trouble the family's gone to decreed a success. The Kombai don't use any mind-altering substances, not even alcohol, but they all hit a natural high when the visitors present some experimental theater.
As usual with all these things, there's an element of formality behind it, or not formality, but yeah, history and a proper sort of protocol with something. But then when it comes to actually doing it, it's like, what do we do next? Right, let's tie a feather on this guy. and let's go. A man reversing down the length of the longhouse with a large protrusion coming out of his behind, with a sequence of other bird-like men following in his wake. Truly the most awesome display of surreal behavior I've ever seen. I've never ever attended a party like this. Certainly never hosted one, and there's no chance in the rest of my life that I'm ever going to do anything as extraordinary.
Fortunately, there's been no trouble at all, and what struck me this morning is that despite much of the Kombai's life being ruled by traditions that we might think are bizarre or even brutal, those rules can be gently set aside. Ruben's story has been almost the most enlightening, really, because I get a feeling that he was a very young man when he was accused of sorcery and chased out of the village, but they didn't kill him. They cleansed him. There must have been some people with their heads on slightly more level shoulders, if you like, and we're just thinking, let's not take this witchcraft thing too far. So if there are slightly more level-headed people around, then I imagine in most people's eyes that Ruben is in the clear now. The time has passed. He's known as having some magic powers, but he uses them for good. He uses them to heal people.
As the last guest disappears, Mark and Ollie face up to the traumatic idea that they too will soon be saying farewell. After spending months in the rainforest, adopted by this Kombai family, the party's finally over, and Mark and Ollie are packing up to leave.
I think everyone from so-called civilization, in inverted commas, could learn something from these people. They're so unjudgmental, and I think I like to think I'm not a particularly judgmental person, but I know I am. And not once have I felt them look at us with any form of judgment at all. And if I can be like that, it'd be cool.
I think I'd be stupid, foolish, and arrogant to think that an experience like this could never change me, and it has already changed me. I will try very hard when I get back to really show my appreciation for those things which, at the end of the day, really matter far more than going to the supermarket and having 10 different types of bread to choose from. Looking back at our time here, there's been so many incredible moments. Incredible experiences, things that I never thought I'd ever experience in my life.
There's so many things I love doing. I love building the Wallin at the treehouse.
What was your hero?
Raft trip. The adventure of that, the spirit of stupidity really to go out and do that. I love going out hunting with some of the first hunting tools known to man. It'll stick in my mind forever, I think. It made me appreciate how tough the struggle for self-sufficiency is for them here. But it's all the more rewarding that they do succeed, relying on no one but themselves. Ollie and I would need decades to truly become Kombai. And to be frank, I hoped some of their traditions disappeared. The young girl was led, bound to her execution.
Huge change is round the corner. Clothes and money are creeping in from a little village just a few days' trek away. Some Kombai are already seduced by the outside world. But others fear it'll steal their freedom and dump them at the bottom of the social pile. If they go into a city, they could well end up just on the streets begging, and that world and that life would be a lot tougher. It's possible that there will never be another festival like the one we've just witnessed. This has always been about the people.
I love the girls' laughs. Berner and Mappy and Rimby especially. Any moment spent with them would just be a complete delight.
On Miss Bayo's zen-like ability to transcend everything around him. And Klua, the great showman Klua. And Knori's gravel in his eyes as he just looks straight through you.
This is going to be really hard, saying goodbye to these people. It's been such a fantastic experience, and they've made that for us. They've completely made that for us.
I'm very sad. I've made some incredible friends here. Had an extraordinary experience which I never thought I was going to have ever in my life.
Come back and see you.
I missed you.
No, I'm really going to miss you.
They opened the doors with open arms and led us into their lives, into their world. And for that, I'm completely grateful.
Ollie and I come from the other side of the world, and we've got on very well with them from minute one. It's been a bridging of cultures, bridging of the world, really.
This is their land, this is their world. Here they are the masters of their own destiny, something which we do not have in the West.
This is man right back to day one, and at one with the forest